Hey YouTube, it's Tele Tuesday. Got two tellies in for a little bit of work. So this is a Squier custom Telecaster. I suppose the custom's because it's double bound, back and front. It's quite nice. Serial number ISSJ2. Oh, it might be brand new. Normally they're quite International Space Station J2. Normally they say ICO2, and that would be Indonesian Court 2002. So I'm not sure exactly what ISSJ21. So is it maybe a 2021 model? They've changed the serial numbers again, bastards. Yeah. So this is, I suppose, one of your classic vibe or vintage modified or something like that one, as in this fancy Squire. So you've got the super glossy neck, which is lovely. What that Clausen tuners, I said double bound. Oh, it's actually got a wee bit of a flamey thing going on in it as well. Quite a luxury Telecaster, 3-saddle ashtray bridge. I got this in to basically swap over the electrics, just the control panel. The guy said the other one didn't work, and to be honest I should probably have checked it before I did it, but I put it in anyway. So you know the switch I invented that gives you the humbucker? I didn't invent it because someone's already selling these things. So this was pre-wired. You've got a push-pull pot here, actually quite cool looking knobs, and a decent oak Grigsby type switch in it. And he said, the owner said it cost, I think he said it was 20 quid including postage, 17 quid, something like 15, 20 quid, something like that, which is, I think it's pretty good. It gives you an extra sound, plus it gives you decent big pots and stuff. So basically all I've done is fitted that. He gave me a set of strings to change the strings on it, but these strings aren't that bad. I've tendency to leave these things a bit longer. I'll message him and see if he actually wants me to change the strings. I don't want to change the strings until the old ones are done. You know, it's like, save myself 50 pence. Yeah, so playing through the PV valve. Oh god, I don't even know what this one's called. A VK112. I've kind of moved them, trying this one out, deciding whether I'm going to keep this or the orange. So neck pickup does have reverb on it, which is nice. Both pickups on. See a little bit. Bridge pickup. And then your new sounds. It's doing the same as what my switch does as well. It is disconnecting between bridge position and middle position. So it turns off and turns on again. That's to do with knocking it in series. So there you go. You get normal middle position, both pickups in parallel, and then both of them working as a humbucker. One thing I'd have to do, if you're going to put this in, I would make sure it's going to be like this in most modern Telecasters, that the two pickups are opposite wind to each other, so you get like a clockwise and positive magnet, north magnet on one, and an anti-clockwise and south magnet on the other, which they would normally do because that means in the middle position, when you don't have the fancy switch on, they're hum cancelling. You know, the two work kind of against each other and cancel out the interference a bit, which you kind of get on. It's the same in any sort of modern Strat as well. The middle pickup will be reverse wind, so that when you're in positions 2 and 4, you get hum cancelling. These things didn't exist back in Hendrix's day. He just had buzz all the time. He didn't even have a 5-way switch actually. But yeah, no, this was I'm going to put some distortion on. I don't like playing without distortion. Buckerizer. feels absolutely brand spanking new. There is absolutely zero wear on it. This is basically I'm pretty sure he said he bought it second hand, but this is a brand new Telecaster. And I do quite like the double binding is a little bit fancy and quite nice. It's got the through stringing on the back as well. Yeah, so I need to find out where this particular switch layout came from. Where you basically just bought the control plate, and I said if it's only going to be, I think let's say 20 quid. That's I'm not even sure I could have built that for 20 quid. Like just buying bits. Maybe it's different if I bought 100 sets of stuff, but normally, I mean, you're talking about, it's normally like a tenner for the plate, maybe even a wee bit more than that for the plate, the switch, and the two normal pots, never mind having a push-pull pot in it, which costs a fiver, so that's you at 15 quid, and then you've got to get somebody to connect it all up. I don't know how that works economically. Nice, I don't know if you can see these. These are sort of knurled, they might actually be plastic, or aluminium knobs, which I quite like as well. Just a little bit different. It's not set up exactly the way I would want it, but this guy knows what he's doing. He's like he likes digging in. He plays punk. This is his. He's decided he had to buy a backup guitar, so that's what this is, and it's a nice tele. So this is the first half of the video. That's why I said Tele Tuesday. It's not just one; it's two. I've got here. So this is his new backup guitar, which he bought, and there was something wrong with the electric, so he bought this fancy thing with it. Push pull on it, which is pretty cool, but I'll show you his original telly. And this thing is, look at it. This is also a Squier, but this is a Japanese Squier. It's an SQ serial number, and my SQ serial numbering system, which I thought my Squier Bullet, Japanese 1983, I think, is SQ 00000016. So I think that's the 16th one ever made, but this one starts SQ 35625, so that's 35,000. Wow! It can't have been 35,000 Squiers. To be honest, there probably could have been. Maybe it is just a sequential number. I don't know, but this is an old Japanese one. So we've got the Fender Japan tuners, same as it's a little bit road worn, and this is not relict. He actually asked me not to clean it. So this one has a Seymour Duncan, which I think is a quarter pounder because there's a coil tap switch on it. That's like not a coil split, a coil tap. This one was in to get a new bridge, and there was some wiring issues which I've sorted. But the old bridge, I'm not going to throw it out because I never throw anything out. Oh, that's not it. Why have I just got Telecaster bridges sticking about? That's it there. It's like pure. I'm kind of tempted to. I think the reason I didn't like it is because it's got notches out it. Because at some point there was a MIDI pickup in this guitar. But I mean, I'm just thinking that's natural rust. Actual relic Telecaster. I might get 50 quid for that on eBay or something. Or I'll just use it in a bucky caster. Aye. I've not turned the. Yeah, so this one sounds a little bit different, but This kind of reminds me of my Antoria, actually. Maybe just the wear. The frets are... Apparently it's been refretted 3 times. It must be quite... I think maybe done quite a lot of gigs. This guitar, but I mean... It's really nice. I really like it. I mean, I would clean it myself, but if you, it's got that you know that where you can see the grain through the butterscotch finish. It really is awful nice. Quite a few chunks of it have been taken out, but I am a fan of this particular guitar. I maybe would be, if one of these showed up this range, I would maybe buy a Fender Telecaster. I guess I could have one. I mean, it's Fujigen built, the same as my FGN. So it's like, this is the same factory. So it's just a modern version. Eventually, maybe it'll look like this. But I do. As soon as I saw it, it was like, yeah. Your initial reaction is, been at it with the sandpaper. But as you look at it, you go, this is not a sandpaper. This is proper, real man dent in it from excessive gigging and stuff like that, and sweating and drinking and getting into fights. That's what this guitar is from. Not somebody sitting there with like a wee. Was it? I saw some. Who was it doing it? One of the proper relicking ways is that they get like a wee pouch thing with gravel in it, and then they sit it on the top of the guitar and tap it with a hammer. And you're like, just get an old one. But a huge fan of this one. I'd say that's vintage mode. That's it coil tapped. So you've got like a low output brangy Telecaster pickup. And then this one you've got a more powerful one. Which I suppose if you're going to play Judas Priest or something, that would be the sound you would use on it. But I like the vintage. But this is kind of like is it, you know, you get your old shoe that you've worn for your shoes that you've worn for ages are really comfy and they're kind of a little bit beat up. That's what this feels like, even though it wasn't me that was wearing the shoes, so they kind of feel a wee bit weird because they're not fitted exactly to my feet type thing, but I can totally see how this guitar is worth a lot to the owner. It kind of tells a story, and the quality level of it's amazing. I mean, not knocking the more modern Squier there, but this is a miles pick guitar. This is basically a Fender, you know, like a proper 50s Fender or something like that, more so than pretty much any other one I've ever really played. It just wants to be beaten up. Actually, it doesn't feel entirely dissimilar to my Squier Bullet. It's just that my Bullet's in almost mint condition, and it's from 1981 or 3, can't remember, and it's a serial number 16, so it's got a slight element of I don't want to damage it or wear it out kind of thing. This one, because even though it's fantastic and it's not mine, I'm pretty sure if I really did accidentally drop this and put big dents in it, they're not going to notice. Not that I ever would, but you know what I mean. That neck pickup, that bridge pickup, glorious. So is the neck pickup actually. mean, maybe there is something in the old Japanese squires. I know that you see a lot of people sell them, and you go, there's a Fender Japan for 400 quid. That's quite a good deal. You look at it's actually a squire. How can somebody spend 400 quid on a squire? And it's like, well, you kind of, to be honest, if it's one like this, I mean, this one must, I mean, a certain amount of it must be the wearing in thing. Probably, but I'm sure you can probably get one of these that's in much, much, much less beat up condition, and I'm sure it'll still be amazing. It's just like, you get the rounded edges and stuff like that. This one's extremely rounded edges because it's, well, you can see it's been there's no that's not a fingerboard. It's a one piece neck. That's just where the lacquer has been worn off by hand, which makes it very, very comfortable to play. I can see someone having this as it's their only guitar, and it feels like someone's best guitar. I mean, it's not. I mean, I'm sure they're more like the guys probably get much more expensive guitars, but it's only a Squier, but it's uncommonly good. For a Weather's original, soft, sweet, and uncommonly good. But I'm really going to refret my Antoria because I've got a feeling. I suppose it's the same factory, it's a Fuji Gen, but this has got like a one-piece neck, it's got like a laminate neck, and it's not actually a Fender or a Squier, it's an Antoria. But it's got something, there's something in common with that in this, apart from being a Telecaster, which I'm really thinking, the frets on mine are knackered though, so I need to put new frets in. If I put new frets in it, I think I might end up with something approaching this in just general coolness. I'll go with a limb. Is this the best Squier I've ever played? I think so. I think, but like, by a fair bit. I mean, my Bullet's really nice, but the thing about this is a Telecaster, and Telecasters are cooler than Bullets. It makes more sense to me, the Tele. So I think this is probably, I think my second best Squier I've ever played, the one I've got, my Bullet. This one I think is probably the best Squier I've ever played. Well, is it a Squier? It says so on it, but I mean it's basically a Fender Japan, isn't it? It's a Fender Japan. They're quite bad. The frets are quite dented up here at the cowboy chords, but not. They look bad, but you don't notice playing it. Kind of almost worked out to play Kashmir in standard tuning there by accident. I do like the tapped version of the pickups. So much so that basically if I was going to buy a new Telecaster pickup for one of my Telecasters, I would probably buy the tappable Seymour Duncan. Just because it gives you the extra sound, and there is use for the more powerful one, but the thin one just gets so much more jangle to it and stuff. What I need to do is I need to play my FGN shitload. After pausing on that and then still swearing, a flip load, to make it a bit more like this, I think. It's got that thing, I've got a wee area bass, it has this thing where there's so many dents on it that you can't feel them. Like, see if it had my FGN's brand, or the other telly I've got there, if there was a wee dent in that, you would feel it because the rest of it's pure smooth. This is like, it's just there's so much, you can't feel any of the dents, it just feels right. But I'm a wee bit biased anyway because I like my Japanese guitars. So I mean, it's like one of these ones that, like, if the chap was killed and his family got back to me and said, "Oh, I believe you've got one of his guitars." And yes, you've got one. Give him that back. I would keep this one. Not going to do that. That'd be horrible. Not really matter what position it's on. It just sounds great everywhere. I'm pretty sure I think the neck pickup's original. I don't think it's a... It might not be though. Yeah, wonderful. Everything a tele should be for me. I did actually change the strings in this one because I had the bridge off and I replaced the bridge. I didn't actually try it with the old rusty bridge, but he said he's going to get to work rusting it back up again. So definitely my Antoria is getting refretted by me as a tester to see if I can do refrets. Because I don't know. I don't know why I'm feeling so similar to that. I mean, I've got a few teles. Some of them are really quite old as well, but that Antoria and this have a thing. But that thing I think is missing from my Squier Bullet because it's too not played enough. Basically, I think. I don't know what the story of that guitar was. Maybe just because it wasn't a Strat or a tele. It wasn't worth any money at one point, so it just sat in its case. Something like that, I think. Even my pal Ronnie with that. I need to dig it out and start using it again. Maybe it is as good as this. Maybe I'm just not. Maybe I just don't play it enough. Just because it looks kind of funny, it's not. I kind of wish it was. I'm talking about a different guitar here. 22 minutes. Anyhow, rock on. I'll use this as my my thumbnail rather than the one at the start when I'm using the other guitar, I think. Catch you later!